Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to Busting Rainbow Six Siege. Today we are myth busting the new operator Tubarao. And in part 1 we were able to cover the basic rules of this operator so that you know roughly how he's going to work with all operators because he interacts with pretty much everybody. And we also went over why he's a bit of a troll operator in the last episode too. But in this episode we're actually going to be looking at how to use this operator tactically and very well to potentially of course win. Now, for the most part, I think this operator is going to excel when it comes to team play and communication. However, there is a bunch of potential solo queue stuff you can do with this operator too, and we'll begin with a very simple one, which is just runouts. Because this operator can freeze claymores, and with his gadget having a very large range, he can do this very safely. Now, of course, Mute can also jam claymores, but I think this operator does it faster, more effectively, and is going to end up being far more deadly at it. So for me, that's confirmed. Now let's talk about solid walls. So of course in Rainbow Six Siege you have destructible surfaces that you can damage and break and destroy, but you also have these walls that are just indestructible. You can't shoot through them, you can't do any destruction through them, and you do have operators like say Mute who has a little bit of an area of effect that can go outside that range, but only just. I would say this new operator is something brand new, as his gadget is able to penetrate solid surfaces with enough range to actually make a meaningful impact on people on the other side. So I think this is the first operator to properly affect people through surfaces that normally wouldn't be impacted. And I don't think we've even scratched the surface of the potential tactics we're going to see here with this new operator actually being able to affect people through solid surfaces. But certainly that is confirmed. Now, being able to slow people down through indestructible surfaces is definitely a new thing. However, there's another new thing with this operator, and that is the interaction with glass. So especially with me doing these videos, testing operators, there's usually almost no interaction with glass in any way unless you're talking maybe Sens, and that's because his gadget's supposed to be kind of like smoke but it's lasers, right? Well, with the new operator, you can either freeze yourself and you will no longer be thermally detected by glass, or you can throw your ice at glass and he will no longer be able to thermally detect you. And this is like the first time his gadget has ever been countered. So this is cool and it's unique. Now, it doesn't make you invisible even through smoke, but still, it might just save your life because Glaz is going to be looking for that highlight, and if he doesn't see it, he might hesitate. So very cool interaction here, and not one I would have expected. So confirmed and really freaking cool. Now let's move away from the slowing effects and the anti-gadget stuff that this operator can do. Let's talk about intel. This is definitely a different way to play this operator, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how good players get at using this operator below surfaces. So for instance, we can put the canister on a ceiling, it'll freeze, anyone walking on it will leave footprints. So of course you can shoot up or stuff like that, or maybe bring an operator like Solus who can throw some impact grenades up there and such. And this is definitely going to be a very handy thing. Now, what I found is it's very inconsistent. Sometimes the footprints are bright and then sometimes they're really dull. But there's also another thing, this actually works through solid surfaces as well. So you may not be able to obviously shoot and kill the enemy above you, but you can see them moving around. So this operator is surprisingly good as an intel operator, as well as delaying gadgets or slowing operators down. The intel part of it is also quite powerful. And if they can fix the inconsistency in the foot highlights, I think this is going to be a really good tactic, so confirmed. Now in the last episode, we've seen that Finka's boost does not work when you're in the ice effect or if you're boosting someone who's in the ice effect. Well, I thought, is Doc also affected? Because presumably his gadget is some sort of liquid that you get injected with, so that could totally freeze up. And considering this guy counters so many defenders as well, I thought, may as well give it a go. And I was actually surprised to find that the Doct can heal totally fine in the ice, no problem, so that is actually busted. Another defender I was curious about was Castle, because I thought if you can flash freeze his castle barricades, do they become more brittle? And I tested it, and it took exactly the same amount of melee hits to break as normal, so no impact on castle. That's also busted. Now let's hit quickly a few things that this operator does not counter. So of course, with everything in the game, this guy pretty much slows it down, but there is a few exceptions, so we're going to go through a couple of them. We've got the diffuser. This guy surprisingly actually has no effect on the diffuser at all, even though the diffuser of course would be some sort of electrical device. There's no slowdown, there's nothing. It doesn't pause it, doesn't slow it down. And this could be maybe a buff that if they find he's weak, they could add in, but yeah, I don't think they should. So quite happy that it does not do anything to the diffuser. And then Thatcher's EMP grenades. So of course, with this new operator and other hard breachers and Kaid and Bandit, there's going to be a lot of going back and forward between trying to breach, trying to EMP, trying to ice. It's going to be quite fun to see the gameplay play out with this. And the EMP itself does not get frozen by the device, so it goes off as normal. It is not impacted at all, which is quite handy. And I'm glad they decided to go with that. They could have easily just made it so that it would disable it for the same amount of time and freeze it and then go off afterwards. But I'm glad they didn't. It would have been probably worse for the new operator if they had. So quite happy with that interaction. Now what about the man that walks around with a windshield on his gun? Because I would think if you're flash freezing Blackbeard's gun shield, it would actually freeze up like a car windscreen and you'd have to get a scraper out to defrost it, which would have been hilarious. But there's no impact on Blackbeard at all. I guess this could have also impacted shield operators as well with the actual glass frosting up. So probably best that it doesn't, but I'm always quite amused when Blackbeard gets an additional nerf, but in this case, he gets away quite easy. Now we can talk conclusion. So this has been a two-parter episode for this guy, and in the first episode I had to just give some general tests, and of course we've gone a bit more deep with the second episode here. But the main conclusion is this guy is a ton of fun, and I can really see this being a very enjoyable operator to play with, and maybe even the best operator off this year. And that's hard for me to say because Brava hacks gadgets, and I was waiting for her for years. When she finally got into the game, I was like, perfect, and I've played her a ton this year. But the gameplay here is just top notch. Lots of interactions, lots of complexity. Definitely for new players, it's going to be overwhelming. But once you get the basics under control, I think you're going to do great. And this could be a very powerful operator in a coordinated team. Again, you could potentially end stuff like hard breaching with this operator, unless there's of course a Maverick. And then for solo play, I think there's some great variety there for doing like runouts and stuff on claymores. And this is also going to be an operator that just develops over time, because you can imagine we're going to have more electronic gadgets, more mechanical gadgets, and this guy is going to probably counter them and be a fun way to engage with them. So he's going to be forever evolving. So yeah, good operator design. I would love to see him on the live servers if he's going to end up being too powerful or weak or what. But I will say loadout is boring, really boring. I would have preferred a much more interesting loadout. Even just a big, there's a big selection of guns out there that still haven't been recycled onto other operators yet. So the MPX could have been sorted for something else, I think. But other than that, yeah, this operator is really just exceptional fun. And I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below about this new operator. And of course, this new operator enters the game on the release date of Operation Deep Freeze, which is the 28th of November. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.